I got into, well, I didn't get into, but someone started a very nasty, ugly argument with me. And they said that Jesus never existed, Jesus is a fairy tale, and Lady Gaga's come to destroy the church, and that's why she did. Judas, which by the way doesn't offend me in the least, that might be one of the most, I don't want to call it interesting, because I'm just not really crazy about Lady Gaga, but that sure didn't rub me the wrong way. I sure got the joke of the song, and I got the joke of the video, and oh, by the way, didn't Madonna do that in like a prayer? I don't know, but I never thought Madonna would end up being this thing we compared everything to in music. I had no idea that would ever happen, but that may be her biggest triumph, is that now everything on the radio, people go, well, didn't Madonna? Well, anyways, he was really nasty, and I responded, I worked on it, I prayed about it, sentence by sentence throughout the course of a day or two. I did this. And then, if you can go back and read the argument, and read what I said, and imagine what I edited on both sides. You know, what I edited that he posted and what I edited before I posted something. You can see how effective the word of the Lord can be if we're not really stupid about it. Because it's my page, and everybody knows I could be curt, and I could be abrasive, and I could shut people down easily. And I could just block them. But I didn't. Instead, I just went, I said, Lord, help me through this and make this ministry. Well, one of the last things that he posted was basically, well, I think you win, Paisley, because I can see that there's love in what you're doing. And we don't have to agree, but I can't argue the fact that you've handled this in a loving manner. And isn't that Jesus overall? So I wrote him private, and I said, I was going to send him an email, send him a CD. I was going to say, thanks for being my friend, can I send you a CD? And I saw that he lived here in Phoenix. So I wrote him, I said, all this time I didn't realize you're local. I said, we should meet for coffee. And he turned around and told me his location, which was, I don't know what's appropriate here, but it was in a public place that I knew that he was working at. You know, in the gay part of town. And I said, you know what, you're on. And I got in the car after an argument with a stranger on Facebook. I got in the car and I went over to this place. And of course we greeted each other and hugged and got along swimmingly. But he had a handful of other people there. Other people like himself, gay, pagan. One was a trans woman, meaning a man becoming a woman in the early stages of transition. And they wanted to have a discussion with me about my Christianity up against their paganism and their alternative lifestyles, which, by the way, I hate those words, but I'm using that to politely not single anybody else out if they see that I don't want them to feel in any way invaded. They wanted to hear what I had to say because of the love that I showed. And you all know I love these people. You all know that. You know, I'd kill to have 1 million of them here right now. But you all know that I love them because I know Jesus loves them, and my job is to show them that. And it's not about showing my love, because that only gets, you know, a dinner date, you know what I mean, and a foot massage, but doesn't win souls. It doesn't turn hearts and minds around. Well, hearts and minds turned around that day. I stood in this environment surrounded by these people, and I preached. And I preached, and I preached. And they said, well, look, your religion has done this. Well, your religion has done this. Now, why don't we both put our religion down and just talk about the man, the guy, the God? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we went back and forth, and I took quite a beating, and I'm telling you, it was no fun, and people shouldn't do this alone. by the way. I didn't know I was walking into that. People shouldn't walk into that alone. Not because I was going to get my ass kicked. In the middle of the day, and I'm certainly not afraid of that, because I knew the place I was at. But as a minister, it would have been nice to have like 100 people like hiding out in the parking lot, at least praying for me. Because, this was an important time. This might have been, some of the most important work I was going to do all year. And they're working on me doing a performance at this place, by the way. And I ended up giving the trans woman a ride home and being introduced to the people of her house. And these are all people that hate the church. These are all people that hate Jesus. These are all people that hate people like me who look and sound like one of them, but are waiting for an opportunity to hammer them over the head with the truth. These are all people who wrote me all that day privately and said that they loved me and they were grateful for me and that they'd never seen anyone go the extra mile like that. That I would even get in my car and just go and just do it. But if you all know, of course I would. It was an honor. It was like, it's like, can I do that every day? Give me more to do. And I know that the ministry happens where and how God says it happens. But it can't be with me being this conservative thing that I'm not anyways, because anyone who knows me knows this ain't an act. No matter how extreme I've gone in any direction, somewhere in the center, I'm still, well, I'm Paisley Yankolovich, and that's sufficient. And, but I need to show, my people that we're allowed to love God. And He loves us. And the way to Him is Jesus. But I also have people that I minister to that A, don't need to know that because they already know that, and B, don't necessarily relate to the tribe I come from. I have two things to juggle all the time and find a way to make them get along. And the answer to it is that it's impossible. It's impossible. And the only right path for me to be on in all of it is one of as much honesty as I can muster up. As much truth to who I am at the time, what I see in front of me, what I want to do, and what I consider God telling me to do. And I've been saying through Monsters, High-Risk Sexual Behavior, and Sinnerman that finally my music's caught up to my taste. That I finally am doing something I actually like. I actually like doing this. I'm actually really into this. The people out there probably would be surprised to know that my shows aren't packed. that this hasn't been a big booming success. Well, American Life was a big failure for Madonna, and it's one of the greatest records of all time. It's her masterpiece. But that speaks for itself. That means it stands out completely different than everything else she's done, and people hated it because she didn't live up to their expectations and their stereotypes of her. And that's very sad. Because an artist, in whatever venue they're in, is a prophet of something. If anything, they're saying you need to speak your mind, you need to tell your truth, you need to do something other than think about it all the time. You got to get it out. And you got to get it out, and you got to get as far out as you can get it. I've had the fortune over the last 7 years to get my message out very far. Very far. I couldn't believe it last night when a singer named Alicia Bridges commented on my Facebook. I was like, you're paying attention to what I'm doing? I mean, for those of you who don't know, you totally know who she is. She sings what? You won't say it? I don't have to sing it? You're not even going to speak? Can you sign language? Well, she sang the legendary disco classic, I Love the Nightlife, I've Got to Boogie. Everyone knows that song. That's the song when we're in the car and the 70 station's on, I jack that baby up. I remember writing her when I first saw her on Facebook a long time ago, saying, will you please friend me? Because I knew that she had too many friends. And I wrote her, I said, will you please friend me? I'm a huge fan. And she sent me a friend request, and I thought that was really cool. And then I posted something nice on her wall, and I said, you know, you're really nice to me. And she said, well, I'm really honored to have you, and it looks like what you're doing is really cool, and I'm going to check you out now. And out of the blue, you know, someone I got goosebumps, man. Someone I drive around listening to on purpose gives me the time of day. Yeah, it's a virtual time of day. But you know what? There's a lot of people on Facebook I don't talk to. And to put it in perspective, my own brother, I hope everyone watches this, my own brother just sent me an email on Facebook to let me know that someone we know mutually, their mother died, which was very helpful. But he did not send me a friend request. You know what I'm saying? And everybody has these stories. But to have someone that I beyond admire, like Alicia Bridges, you know, contact me on her own out of the blue, you know, and communicate with me means, you know, someone's going to my page every once in a while. Just like I go to theirs. You know, but I don't always leave a trail. So there's some people, I don't want them to know that I go to their page every day, donut person. And, oh my gosh, she posts something about donuts, and I'm still, did you bring some? Okay. Anyways, don't. So, people ask me what I do. I don't really know how to describe what I do. People ask me what my music is like. I have no idea. People ask me what kind of music I have no idea. I am a minister. I am an evangelist. I am a prophet of the Most High God. I am using every gift and skill God has given me to whatever ability I can at any given time that someone might pay attention. I sing, I talk, I preach, I compose, I steal other people's songs, I certainly steal their ideas. That's called rock and roll. I don't know, I make movies now. See, now I'm a filmmaker, you know, I am a visual artist, I'm an oral artist. In the art world, it's called installations. See, we used to call it performance art, which is essentially where you take all the above skills and mesh them all together into some kind of piece that makes your point, which is exactly what I do. This is what I've always done. This is how I've approached what I do. But now we use the term installations, and installations tend to have to do with experimental sound. And if anyone's heard me sing, it sure as hell is experimental sound more than anything else. But again, it's all a very pretentious way to say, I just use this vessel to communicate to whomever, however, whenever, with whatever's at my disposal, that I can stand or not be ashamed of doing at any given time in Jesus' name. I have no idea what a single word for my profession would be. So I stick with rock star, because that's what I always wanted to be. So if I have to pick one of a million different hats that I wear, why not pick the fun one? Besides, everyone knows I say it with a certain degree of tongue-in-cheek, but my favorite music in music history is rock and roll, and all the different types, except bad rock and roll. But, you know, I definitely am, I definitely have heavy metal in my blood, and I definitely have southern rock in my blood, and I obviously have punk rock in my blood, and I have techno rock and industrial rock and blues rock, and I kind of go to the Church of Joan Jett whenever I can, and I guess this is my arrested development. I started smoking pot right around the age I started listening to all this shit, and this is how I turned out. So that's pretty much it. And that's a fact. That's a fact. You want to make sure you're at a really good place in your life the first time you smoke pot, because if the arrested development theory is true, kind of scary. However, ladies and gentlemen, I just started smoking pot right around the time the Runaways happened. Well, the Runaways are in vogue, and Cherie Currie and Joan Jett are making a lot of money all of a sudden.